Welcome to Finding Solutions with eBay Joey and Stevie D. Welcome to a Reseller's Journey presents Finding Solutions. I'm your host, eBay Joey, and my co-host, Stevie D. If it is your first time to the program, thank you for joining us. If you're a regular, welcome back. What's up, Stevie? How you doing?
I'm doing great, Joe. How you doing, man?
Oh, I'm doing good, man. I like that sweater you got on, man. I know for the people that are listening on the podcast, they can't see it, but for the YouTube, man, that's nice.
Trying to look clean this week. You outdid me last week with that fresh cut and that baby face that you had going on. I had to clean up a little bit.
So how's this week going for you with sales?
Sales were good this week. Picked up from last week. Had a crazy week at work. I mean, I'm like I told you, I'm in retail, so it's a big President's Weekend for me, and busy with the sales and the retail game, and good online week as well. I'm happy. How about
Awesome,
you? How you
awesome.
doing?
Not too bad. I got a return coming my way. Just seems like I'm just getting hit with a bunch of returns, but it's part of the game. Find the solution, and I just keep moving forward.
That's it. And don't be discouraged. Sometimes those returns you resell them for more than you sold them the first time. So,
Yeah, well, today we got two questions that we're going to be answering. I did get a lot of questions over the weekend, and so for the people that submitted the questions that we're not going to answer, they will be answered on next week's episode, so episode 8. But the two questions that we're going to be talking about, Stevie, is number one, negative and positive effects reseller influencers have on the resale game, and question number two, when should you get an LLC and a tax ID? What are the pros and cons? So we're going to cover both of those today during the episode. But first, let's talk about question number one, negative and positive effects resale influencers have on the resale game. What are you thinking?
well, this is probably hot topic number 2 right now. I think outside of that low ball or undercutter topic, it's a lot of people who like to go on the gram and voice their opinion on celebrity resellers, as people call them. And look, I think there's more pros to it than cons. As somebody who, at one time, I'm not saying I'm famous by any stretch of the mean, but no one had any clue who I was. And, there a lot of these celebrity resellers and influencers are people who taught me knowledge. I came from the thrift game and the yard sale game, and retail arbitrage wasn't my specialty. And, thanks to a lot of those people, it helped me venture into another game I really wasn't playing around with. So to me, it was a positive. And I have no issue with people that want to go on there and try to spread the wealth of knowledge and that they have and make people better. What do you feel about that?
Yeah, I think there is pros and cons. Since we're talking about the positive, I'll tell you what I think about the positive. I think if you have a business model that you agree with, or these other resellers they have, I think you're going to be more in line that they're doing the right thing. I think that they have an influence, whether it's they have the same philosophy as you with the profit margins, the dollar amount they like to make, they're patient, they list high. I think you're going to look at those people and be like, yeah, um, those are people that are doing great things in the game, and they're helping people. Contrary to that, there's going to be a negative, but I think for the most part, um, because of people like Hustler Hacks and Know It to Flip It, and other people that got channels, I'm able to meet you. I'm able to meet other resellers. I think there's a community within a community. Uh, Now I got a podcast, you got a YouTube channel, so I think someone's always going to give birth to somebody, and at some point you're always going to work for somebody before you want to start your own venture, and that's just part of the learning process. But I think there's a lot of positives that come out of it. What do you think?
Yeah, absolutely. And, one of the things that I love to do, like when I have people that hit me up in the DMs and ask questions and everything, is it gives me an opportunity to educate them and get them kind of on the same beliefs that I have, which, look, you can think I'm wrong, but I'm a guy who prices high, maybe sometimes too high, to be able to negotiate with people. And the more people that I can help, influence in the beliefs of my belief of getting top dollar for a premium product, people start to price correctly on eBay and on Goat, and it prevents a lot of this, tanking of price that people complain about all the time. I've talked to a lot of people that early on, were in for that 20% profit margin, and their business model has changed, just from asking opinions of prominent resellers and people on Instagram that are on there all the time. And if we can see everybody, have a market correction basically, and price competitively, but at a correct value, that benefits everybody. And listen, and we know at the end of the day, if the celebrity resellers they stopped showing the finds on Instagram, you're going to have somebody else come in and do it anyways. There's always going to be somebody out there that wants to show photos of what's hot, what's in the streets, what's out there. And at the end of the day, there's a lot of those photos are why we're aware of what's going on. People that's I guarantee you the same people that are complaining about celebrity resellers showing finds are being turned on to things that they didn't know were out there live right now. I mean, I think we've been seeing a lot lately how the East Coast has been getting product before the West Coast on the most part. The East Coast, IG resellers are showing some of that product online and giving you guys out on the West Coast a little bit of heads up what to look for and what's heading your way. It kind of is a hand in hand East Coast to West Coast help, I think, that without people doing that, you guys may pass over a store that's hot because, no one gave you a heads up that item was out there. I have no issue with it because, obviously, because I'm one who's out there showing and helping, but I can get where people, get salty about it. I really can.
Yeah, I think like I've always said on the air, and I've to resellers that I've talked to, and even Hustler Hacks himself, I DM'd and said, hey man, like, thank you for what you do because it has allowed me to make extra money for my family, whether it's paying the gas bill, maybe you have HOA fees, maybe you need to fix the car. Now, I think maybe people might look at these celebrity resellers or these people that have platforms or influence, whatever you want to call them, when they're preaching a message that the other person doesn't agree with. So there's people out there that are all about the low margin, high volume, $10, $15 per item, and they're willing to spend up to $75, $100. And I think people look at that as negative or negativity. They're not doing the things the right way. But it's all up to the individual, Stevie. I think, if you were a Christian and I'm a Muslim, then I'm going to think I'm right and you're wrong, and vice versa, because we're not on the same, belief system. However, when it comes to reselling, there's no right way of doing this gig, in my opinion.
No, you're right. I mean,
Mm,
everybody's going to have their own business model. Everybody has different bankrolls and,
yeah.
access to capital. Everybody's situation's different. Some people, do this as a side hustle. Some people take it very seriously. There's a lot of different people in this game. And, at the end of the day, everybody's business model is going to be different. I think
Yeah.
I personally am starting to see a trend of, at least from the people that I talk to and trust in, that they are pricing on a little bit of a higher end. And I'm starting to see a little bit of an uptick in that. And it's something that I appreciate because that's my model of, I like 100% ROI,
Mm.
and to see a lot of people transition that way is pleasing me. But at the end of the day, I get it's not for everybody. There's times where we all make bad buys and we all sometimes want to get out of those bad buys and open up that capital for something hot out there. I get it. I understand it. But I think at the end of the day, you got to obviously just do what's right for you. Don't let people, piss you off basically because that's the way they want to do it. Just focus on yourself, and
Mm.
one of the things I also agree with is find like-minded people that, have the same beliefs you do as far as reselling is concerned. And obviously you can have some that don't have the same beliefs, and you can probably learn some things from each other. Maybe somebody with a lower profit margins, a good bulk buyer, they might have a wholesale, distribution thing they can help, teach you on. Somebody who's listing high and very patient, how did they get that bankroll to be able to list that high and be patient? There's a lot of things, if you ask questions and, see what people did to become successful, you're going to benefit from it either side of the fence, I think.
Yeah, even in my personal life and reselling, I don't like to look at negativity. I like to take the positive from everything. But I am happy that new people want to enter the game. I'm glad that these celebrity people have a podcast. There's other reselling podcasts out there that do a great job, and they have an influence on people, and people want to get into the game. You have YouTubers that influence people, but guess what? By these people going into a store, buying product, clearing the shelves, even if you think it's a brick, even if you think there's no value, that means Ross, Marshalls, Burlington has to place another purchase order with Nike, with Adidas. And that means more inventory is coming through the store. It's all about timing, your hustle, your dedication. So I say, yeah, as many people want to come in here and buy everything up, let's just do it, man.
Yeah, that's fine. And
Mm,
again, at the end of the day, we've seen so many people come and go.
yeah.
I mean, just looking at last year alone of how many people come on for a couple months, and you could be an influencer and not even have 1,000 followers on Instagram. We've
Mm,
seen plenty of people come in at 500 to 750 followers and go on a hot streak for a week, find a pair of Jordans. I mean, there's a guy being talked about right now on Hustler Has show that you know I didn't mention his name, but he found some Jordan 11 breads in Ross, and all of a sudden everybody knows who this guy is. Sometimes it just takes one find to put your name out there, and people know who
mm,
you are. How many people you think ran out to Ross that week and were looking for that same shoe because of that one pickup? You know what I mean? You could be an
yeah.
influencer with a small amount of followers. It's to me at the end of the day, the ones who again do it correctly and do it for the long haul, there's a reason why they're influencers, because most of these influencers, I believe, do it the right way, and that's why
Yeah.
they're here for longevity. The ones that come and go, maybe they don't have that drive, they don't have that consistency, they don't have that desire. I myself, I know what my drive is. I know you have drive. I know
Yeah.
friends that we have that same drive. And that's what's just going to make you successful at the end of the day, not what everybody else does.
Yeah, and I hope that this really helped out that individual that was asking the question, and we found the solution for them. And for people that are watching this on YouTube, leave comments below. Maybe there's something we left out. Let us know what you feel is the negative, and what's the positive, and we can discuss it. You don't have to have a microphone to have a voice. And I think, that's the beauty about this community, is that, your opinion will be heard.
Yeah, absolutely. We had some nice, dialogue go on in the comments last week. So please jump in there.
Mm,
I know
Yeah.
Joe and myself both get in there and answer back to every comment and question that's put in the comments. I'd love to get some chatter going on about this one for sure.
Yeah, yeah, but appreciate the question that came in. Second question, Stevie. This one is: when should you get an LLC and a tax ID? What are the pros and cons? And I know, you know, you can give us a little information about yourself because you've been doing this for a while, and you have a lot of items in the inventory. So, what do you think about this question?
Yeah, so I myself I file sole. I mean, I have a full time job. I do not have an LLC or an S corp or anything like that. I file sole. So if what that means basically is I file my normal, state and federal income tax like everybody else is supposed to do. And then I also have my 1099 that I get from PayPal or, any other processor that I work with. And I think most people are in the understanding now it's 200 transactions and 20,000 to be for that revenue to be reported to the IRS. And I have a 1099 created for you. That goes for PayPal, with eBay and with Goat and with, Amazon and all these other places. So I take my 1099, I keep track of all of my deductions for the year, my mileage. I have Mile IQ I use on my phone, which the app itself is tax deductible. I keep track of any business purchases from computers to, a label printer, my poly bags that I use, any shipping supplies. Um, I have two storage facilities that I have that are part of, my business. So all of these deductions are made from my business expenses. I put in my 1099s and I hand everything into my accountant and I let him handle everything from there. I mean, I have an eBay store where I'm pushing 750 to 1,000 items, depending on, any kind of bulk buys that come in. And on goat, I'm at, 800 plus pairs on goat right now. So it's sizable inventory, and I'm still doing it as a sole proprietor.
Yeah. No, that's great information. So I'll discuss a little bit. I used to have a clothing line a long time ago, maybe like 10, 15 years ago. It was called 12 Star. And when I set up this business, it was just like, okay, well, I'm gonna start making t-shirts. I started with $300, and next thing you know, I printed some shirts. It went really well, the first batch. I said, okay, well, let me step up my game. And next thing you know, I end up opening a sole proprietor. And so for the state of California, because that's where I'm in, Stevie, I ended up doing a sole proprietor. That allowed me to get a tax ID. My tax ID, because I was the owner and I wasn't paying any salaries, was my social security number. It was just real easy. So I got a tax ID from the state. I got the sole proprietor. I was able to open up a business account with Chase, and I was able to cash checks. This was, 15 years ago. There's no really Venmo and all these other ones that you can just transfer money. It was like, okay, I'm going to write you a check. So I took checks not only in my name, but then also in the business names. Now, with the sole proprietor, you don't have any protection. So me selling t-shirts at the time, if someone wanted to sue me because the shirt gave them a rash and they went to the hospital, they can sue me for my personal assets. So there was really no protection. It was just like I'm on the hook for everything. Now, I was able to do my taxes with my personal job and the business. Now, if this person wants to go to LLC and set it up as a corporation, um, there's tax benefits from it. However, you want to make sure you're doing the right volume, Stevie. I think for someone like you got 750 items. You're ready to get into 1099. If you wanted those tax benefits and you wanted to buy things at wholesale, and you want to protect your house, your car, and all these assets that you have, they would have to go after the corporation, not you. Now, every state is different. There's going to be a lot of, fees involved. For California, I believe it's every year to renew your corporation's $800. And that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
I and if you're in another state to get it set up, there's no annual fees. You could probably do it online. Check out the interview I did with the Hustle Bee, but I think he paid like $45 in the city of Ohio for his corporation. And I think that's going to be the way to go. Also, if this person wants to pay themselves a salary, then going the S corp is another way. But you want to make sure that you're bringing in the right volume. If you're not doing, if you're doing under 20,000, I wouldn't even mess with all this stuff. It's not worth it. Would you agree, Stevie?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, technically your numbers aren't going to be reported to the IRS under that
Yeah.
threshold anyways, but you want to always be on the up and up and report
Yeah.
listen, any profits that you make are taxable. So you want to make sure that you're doing it on the up and up. You don't want to get audited and get caught up with any of that nonsense.
Yeah, so depending on your state, look into the fees, look into the annual fees. But if you do plan on buying wholesale, you want to buy from somebody, not pay taxes, sell it, then pay the taxes. That's totally up to you. There are options out there, but you're gonna have to be organized. You're gonna have to have an accountant. You're gonna have to, maybe file quarterly, annually. Is it worth your time and effort? So hopefully, the individual can decide if there's pros or if there's cons, but definitely I would shoot for, let's get those 1099s from PayPal before we want to go to the next step.
No, I agree. I'm getting close myself to making that change over the more that I scale. This
Yeah.
year I'm still running it under the 1099 and taking care of it. Listen, it's one of the few things I'm OCD about is about
Yeah.
organization and the way I run my business. I don't want to sell duplicate items and I don't want to miss any kind of numbers at the end of the year. So, I got a book, I track everything in real time. I keep one of the tricks I do is I buy like those, 100 count box envelopes. I keep
Mhm.
them in the center console in my car. And when I go out and source that day, and the receipts from that day just go into that envelope,
Mm.
and then I just take them at the end of the month. I put them in the filing cabinet in a drawer, and it's alphabetized or numerical basically by day, by month. I can go right
Mm.
in if anybody wants to try to pull any nonsense and pull that receipt right out. And, it's just safekeeping saves me a lot of headaches down the road. I'm just very organized with all my numbers. If you're not organized in this game, it gets tricky. You want to make sure that you really track all your numbers, Excel spreadsheets, track everything. God forbid you get audited and you don't have that
Mm.
information. You're going to be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, I've been audited twice, and every time we came smelling out like roses. So just keep everything. Take pictures now. Everything's
That's it.
digital.
Absolutely.
Awesome, Stevie. Where can people find you?
All right, so you can find me on my Instagram at stevie.d.reselling, and that is
Mhm.
also the same address for my YouTube channel. Be out there finishing up another video here shortly. I should have up for everybody. And then, guys, make sure you're going down to the bottom of these videos and put some comments in there and shoot us some more questions as well. We're trying to get through as many as we can. We had a lot of good ones come in this week, but please continue to
Yes.
pump in those questions and hit those comments down below, and we'll make sure to get in there and have some dialogue with you guys. How about you, Joe? Where can we find you at?
Yeah, definitely. So first you can find me at the show's website, aresellersjourney.com. You can also find me on Instagram at eBay Joey, the show's Instagram at a reseller's journey, the YouTube at eBay Joey. Definitely want to thank the audience for tuning in. You can subscribe, follow Spotify, YouTube, Apple, Google Podcasts. If there's a platform that you prefer that I currently don't have, let me know. Send me a DM. I'm working on the website. I want to redo it. I got a new segment coming out. It's called Sneaker Tour. So if you follow my Instagram, I did an interview over the weekend. This guy has a massive collection. So a lot of good things are happening. But it's all because of the people that are listening. So I just want to say thank you personally to all of them.
No, absolutely. I totally agree. Thank you, everybody, for the great questions and the great DMs that I've gotten over the last week. You know, a lot of people really getting involved in the show, and it's great that it's, sparking a lot of interest and a lot of comments. And I also see you flexing those NC Chicago women's in the counter back there on the sneak, trying to flex for everybody. Look at you.
Oh man, I think they shipped it to the wrong house.
I got mine coming this week. Don't.
Remember, never forget why you started. Peace.